Hello guys, it's Andy the Angry White Lawyer here again. Yeah, my video that I did on Advance UK has had some pushback, which is highly entertaining. These people like Habib and Lowe, they have a big social media following, and of course you're bound to get reaction, which is a good thing, I suppose. But this video is not about him, although it's looking at the result in Gorton and Denton, it seems that I was right, and voters who voted on the right there wholeheartedly went for reform. Just wasn't enough, and I don't think it ever was going to be. I've done some videos on that as well. But yeah, I mean, they didn't even beat the monster raving loonies. Come on. I mean, really. They're not going to oust a Labour government, are they? So anyway, on to today's parable, which is all about the Greens and the Muslim vote. Or is it the Islamist vote? Either way you look at it. Yeah, the parable, it sprung to mind, and I mentioned this to my missus, and she said, Christ, that nails it. My first thought, I've seen other content creators try to do this, but they haven't mentioned this parable, and it's the scorpion and the frog. And of course the story goes, the scorpion wanted to get across a body of water, a river or something, and the frog came along and he said, Mr. Frog, can you help me across the river? And the frog says, well, what's in it for me? And the scorpion says, well, I'll ride on your back. I'll make sure that anything that comes to attack you, I can protect you. So there's something in it for you. And you get me across to the other side, so there's something in it for me. And the frog said, well, hang on, what if you sting me? We're both going to drown. And the scorpion said, no, I wouldn't do that. Good God, why would I do that? And so the frog agrees, and they both go across the river, and halfway across, the scorpion stings the frog, and they both drowning. And the frog says, why did you do that? And the scorpion says, it's in my nature, I couldn't help it. That's the parable. It originated back in Russia in the early 1900s, I think, and it's been repeated a number of times. Something that Orson Welles did, repeated it. But it's a good parable, because in this particular instance, it struck me as applying to the Muslim vote and the Greens. Now, the Greens think that they are they are riding on the backs of the Muslim vote. And I think it's the other way around. I think the Greens are being used by the Islamists to get Gorton and Denton was very little to do with ecology or green issues. It was more to do with stopping reform, stopping the far right. The videos that they put out in different languages, the language part of it, everybody clutched their pearls over that. And I thought, yeah, I get it. They should be in English, but I was more concerned about the content of the videos, which again, nobody else has mentioned. Because if you looked at the content, the images, they were like Steve Bannon doing a Hitler salute, which he clearly wasn't. He was waving to the crowd. What else was there? Oh, yeah. Refugees or immigrants being taken away by ICE or immigration to be deported, and basically frightening the Muslim voters. If you're going to be deported if reform get in, I mean that's what was bad about those ads. The language thing was secondary to my mind anyway, because it was completely misleading. So yeah, a dirty little election, and yeah, the Greens are happily going along, these little frogs, with the scorpions on their back. Because where has this interest in ecological issues come about? Is there an interest in the Muslim community in ecological issues? So I looked into it, and I'll put something up on that now. Yeah, there are various UK organisations interested in this sort of thing, but not that many. And the Muslim Brotherhood has even got in on the act, and I suspect they're going to be banned if reform get into power in the next election, because they support terrorism. So yeah, weird. But not known for supporting green issues, really. I saw an interesting video of a trans green activist, and she was interviewing, I don't know, she was interviewing the deputy leader of the Greens, who's a Muslim, and a devout Muslim. He had his hat on. I don't know what they call it. I know it's something else in the Jewish faith, but he had a hat on. He's clearly a devout man. Nothing wrong with that. And the question was, do you think trans women are women? And he backed away from that rapidly and said, well, my faith comes first, and I can't say that. But we've all got to sing Kumbaya around the fire and get along, And that's what's curious to me, is that these people are coming together from totally different places. Totally different places. You've got Hannah Spencer, who was praying in a mosque with men. She wouldn't be allowed to do that. So either the photograph was faked or the whole thing was a setup. They seem almost diametrically opposed. So it seems to me that the Scorpions, the Islamists, are using the Greens as a vehicle to gain power. If they set themselves up as the Islamic Party of Britain, I'm sure there is such a thing, they're not going to get power, are they, really? Because there's never going to be enough to win seats. So I think they are using the Greens as a vehicle, really, to get power. And how can they do that? Well, the young Muslims are probably more ecologically minded than their elder Muslims. So they've got them before they start. They've probably already been indoctrinated in schools and things with this eco stuff. So they're pushing this, I think, and they can see the vehicle, that it's there waiting for them to get them across the river. And that's what they're going to do. I looked at what Matt Goodwin said after the defeat by the Greens, a seat that Reform were never going to win, but I don't think so. But and he said, they can only replicate this in 30 odd seats. He's kind of right. It's a bit above that, but there's a further 70 seats. Again, I'll put something up. There's a further 70 odd seats where the Greens, where the Muslim population is high enough for the Greens to capture that vote and get more seats. So even if they won all of those, you're looking at about 110 seats, which is not insignificant. Now, it becomes more important if and when proportional representation is brought in to the general election. Now, I think that's a real possibility. I've been promising to do a video on that. I think Starmer will look at Wales and Scotland, where PR exists. We'll see what happens to his vote in those elections in May. We'll already have looked across the channel to Holland, where Geert Wilders was kept out of power, despite being the head of the most popular party. He was kept out by a leftist coalition because of PR. And I think it's almost inevitable that PR will come in. And what they will do, they will dress it up as, it's a more democratic system. You can agree or disagree with that. It's a more democratic system. We're no longer in a two-party system in the UK, which is true. And after all, the Labour Party endorsed such a move in their conference before the 2024 election, which they did, although it never appeared in their manifesto. So they can justify it, and they don't have to have a referendum on it, although it would be bad form to do so without a referendum. But they could even get it home in a referendum, because more people vote left than right in the UK. And it'll be interesting to see where Reform stand on this, because now they're the major party. They might well say, well, hang on, first past the post is going to work for us. So, be an interesting one. But I think Reform, if it stays the way they are, and the swing stays the way it is in Gorton and Denton, Greens are going to get 100 odd seats, maybe a bit less than that, and Reform are going to get over 400. So Labour have to do something, and I think the obvious move for them is PR, but we'll see about that. So the Scorpion and the Frog, that's what I thought of when I saw the Greens and the Islamists getting together. So what do you think? I think it's a pretty spot-on parable. Or is it the other way around? Is it the Greens using the Islamist frogs to get across the river, and then they'll ditch them when all the young Labour people come to them? I don't know. But interesting one. So jury's out. Let me know.
Scorpion wins. fatality.